we have harvested our berries, our elderberries, and we're gonna do an experiment because, as I said, this is the first time I'm doing this, that we're doing this. Yeah, that's perfect. Let's just do that. So I was reading that apparently if you pop the branches with the berries still attached into the freezer for 10 minutes, that it's much easier to remove the berries. So we are going to put half of these berries in the freezer and we'll just start processing these ones. They're very ripe, so they're coming off quite easily. And we will test it out to see what works best. All right.
So
All right.
the only thing
Yes.
is like these little guys, and
That's
you
okay.
have to filter that out.
That's okay. Yeah, so what Christy was saying is there's like these little hairs from the stems that are, yeah, it's windier than I expected today, that are kind of coming off with it, and that's okay. So the reason we are removing the berries from the stems is the stems and leaves, as well as the seeds of elderberry, have something called glycosides in them, which is a type of molecule that in our bodies, in human bodies, well, this specific one in elder breaks down and releases cyanide, which is a poison. So if you eat raw elderberries and you eat some of the seeds, which you would if you would eat the raw berry, you would most likely get some pretty severe stomach upset. So cooking the berries, what is the word I'm looking for? If you cook the berries, then this is not a problem. Or if you strain out the berries, it's not a problem. So that's what we're going to do here today. And I'm kind of drawing a blank right now. I wanted to talk about the glycosides, the cyanide. Yes, don't eat the raw berries. Right, so any little bits of stem that do end up in this mix that we're doing is okay because we're going to cook it for at least an hour and it will be not a problem at all. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the medicine of elderberries. So how wonderful that they start to ripen at the end of summer. We're already feeling the change of seasons into fall. And with that change of seasons comes colds and flus. And with even more reason with what we're dealing with right now in the world. So what a wonderful time to make some elderberry remedies. And we can make tincture. We can make the syrup, which we're going to make here. You could make a jelly or a jam. So many different ways to use this berry. And what it does is, well, elderberry is one, it's an immune tonic. And by tonic, what I mean is it's something that you can use every single day to generally nourish your immune system and strengthen immunity. However, it is also super, super wonderful. So not only as a preventative, but if you start to feel a little bit sick, it's wonderful to take at the onset and then continue to take while you're feeling sick to potentially reduce symptoms like sore muscles and body aches and coughs and sinus congestion. And so it's funny because a lot of people think of echinacea at the beginning of an onset of a cold or flu, but that's actually not really what echinacea does. So people think of echinacea as like this immune supporting tonic, but it's actually antiseptic. Like echinacea is best used for like blood poisoning. Like if you have severe infection or any type of infection, whether that's an ear infection or a lung infection or a wound that it's infected, that's more what echinacea is actually a good ally for. So elderberry is the one to use at the onset or to prevent and keep your immune system strong heading into the fall and winter season. Yeah. So it can be taken daily, you know. It's a food. All right, so we are going to continue to separate these berries and then we will check in with the frozen berries. So see you in a bit. All right, so I'm also going to make a fresh elderberry tincture. Yeah, because these are just so ripe and so ready and so beautiful. And this is also an experiment. Because so I'll be the test human, because I've heard, you know, don't use the fresh berries for tincture because of but it's the seed, it's not the berry, it's the seed that has those glycosides. And in a tincture, you end up straining out the plant material. So I am like 99% sure that this is completely fine, but I will test it out on myself to let you know if I have any stomach upset. So for tincture, we are just going to fill up this jar with the fresh berries. I chose ones that are like super ripe and super yeasty with that beautiful white bloom. I know for a fact that the Sambucus nigra, the black elderberry, is completely fine to make a fresh berry tincture with, and the blue, is just a subspecies of the black. So yeah, that's why I'm very confident. But don't try this one at home until I let you know how it goes. Cook your elderberries to be absolutely 100% safe. And then we're just going to fill it up with 100 proof vodka, which I've talked about before. The reason I use, a lot of herbalists use higher proof alcohol, like getting up into the 95% grain alcohol and such. But with vodka, it's food grade. And when you get up into the higher distillations, because you basically can keep distilling your alcohol, and it keeps getting more concentrated with less and less water. But when you get up into those higher percentages of alcohol, there are also harmful chemicals and molecules that are produced by that process. So with the 100 proof vodka, it's only 50% alcohol, so it's been distilled a lot less than that grain alcohol. And it's 50% water. So not only are you extracting the alcohol soluble properties from the plant, you're also extracting some water soluble properties. So the same menstruum, which is the name for what you're using, whether it's alcohol or vinegar, those are menstruums, 2 in 1, rather than using a high proof alcohol and getting all the alcohol soluble things and then doing a separate decoction with water and then mixing them together. I mean, that's just too complicated, right? Like, keep it simple. So I'm gonna try and fill this up pretty much all the way to the top. It's taking a little longer than I thought, so bear with me. Yeah, so with fresh plant tinctures, you can, no, I'm just gonna use some of these. Yeah. You can fill it right up to the top. All right. And I love that these giant bottles are now sold in the BC liquor stores. So right up to the tippy top. And gonna close that up, label it, and the fresh plant tinctures are ready in 6 weeks. So it'll probably turn a really gorgeous color, and I will keep you posted on that. All right, we are just about ready to go get our frozen berries. Okay, so let's see how much easier the frozen berries are to strip off. So what do you think, Christy? Let's try it out. I don't know. I think it's like the same. Hey? Yeah. What do you think? Or even harder.
It actually felt easier.
Yeah.
I wonder if you did them a little bit longer, like actually let them
solidify.
And I don't know, do you destroy any of the properties if you freeze them too long?
That's a good question. Technically freezing is cooking in a sense.
Yeah.
It does. Well, because we're cooking these, I don't think it matters. Yeah. I don't think it matters, but yeah, I don't know. I think perhaps, so these blue ones were so soft and just falling off the branch, like they were so ready and ripe. But I have a feeling that the black elderberry, the berries are a little bit like tinier and firmer, like they don't get as soft. So I think in that case, you know, when they're not just falling off the branch, that might be when the freezing works better. But in this case, blue elderberry, ripe, freezing was not super helpful.